Good morning. How are you? Today's lesson is what is conflict in literature? And we look at conflict in terms of it's the problem or the challenge in which the main character faces. So this struggle occurs between opposing characters or forces. We call this our protagonist and our antagonist. Now, the protagonist is what we consider our main character, the central hero that advocates for a cause usually. We sort of, in a slang term, call this our good guy. Now, the antagonist is just the opposite of protagonist. It's the character who opposes or stands against the protagonist. Usually this is our quote-unquote bad guy. Now, conflicts are the complications that move stories forward, and they're essential to the plot. If everything just moved along smoothly and there were no problems or challenges, stories would be pretty boring. Let's face it, nobody's life is sunshine and lollipops all of the time, right? So that's why good stories, well-written stories, have conflict. Now, there are 6 types of conflict that we identify in literature. These 6 are man versus self, man versus man versus nature, man versus society, man versus supernatural, and man versus technology. And here is a quick video you can watch. I'm not going to take this time right now to play it, but play this video talking about the 6 main types of narrative conflict. When we're looking at the different types of conflict, it's like man versus self. We use the word man in place of a human being or the character in the story. Sometimes the character is written about animals because it's fiction. And so it would be about maybe the main character would be a talking pig, like in the 3 Little Pigs, and then a wolf. So we still call this like man versus himself, human or the character. So then we have man versus man. This is external. So man versus self is internal. It's a struggle against a character's own self, like when you're your own worst enemy. Man versus man is when another character is struggling against the main character. Man versus nature is external, and it's a struggle against a character in the natural world, like weather, plants, animals, etc. Man versus society is also external, and it's a struggle against a character and a group in different, like a group as in maybe it is a man goes against his entire village trying to accomplish something that is positive for the village. There's man versus supernatural. This is also external, and it's a struggle against a character and an otherworldly being. Examples would be witches, aliens, gods, and that notice that's a lowercase g, like as in mythologies, like mythological gods and things like that. And then man versus technology is also external. It's a struggle against a character and a machine, or it could be like a robot or a computer or a car or a lawnmower. It's when this technology takes on human characteristics. There's also a video that shows a really nice comparison between internal versus external conflict. There are these 2 types of conflicts. Internal is the struggle that occurs within a character's own mind. A person must decide between right or wrong, overcome pain, quiet their temper, resist an urge. It's just truly when you are your own worst enemy. Those would be internal struggles, man versus self. And then we have external conflict. That's a struggle that occurs with another character or outside the force. Here's a video short. You can watch that. And it shows some really nice examples of these different types of internal, external conflict. And then we have directions for this. You will read the brief description of each plot in the attached assignment below. Identify the protagonist and antagonist. Determine the main type of conflict, like man versus. So the assignment that will be attached looks like this. It says, you will read the brief description of each plot. For example, after years of saving money, John bought his dream home. It was a 2-story beach house in a secluded area. John thought it was absolutely perfect until he noticed the termites. First, there were just a few nibbling away at the back deck, but soon there were thousands. This is the story of how John went to war with the termites, a war that eventually won, but one that cost him his dream. And I'm going to add a he in there, that he eventually won, but one that cost him his dream. Now, what is this one? This would be, who's the protagonist? I'm going to scoot this down just a tad. The protagonist is a good guy, so John. The antagonist here would be the whatever conflict is opposing our main character. So in this case, it would be the termites. And so this type of conflict would be man versus nature. So you will fill these in, and then once you have read and worked all of them, you will turn it in, and I look forward to your answers. Thank you. Bye.